Hi there everyone and welcome. I've got another recipe for a meal in a jar. This one is for Hot Pockets and I'm going to do a breakfast version of it. I'm going to do sausage, egg, and cheese inside, but you could probably put like any number of things inside of this. It's up to you, but I'm going to show you a breakfast version today. And I am going to be using my pie crust recipe for the pocket dough of these Hot Pockets. There are different ways you can make Hot Pockets. You could use a bread dough. You could use my stromboli dough if you want to. That's my artisan bread. But I'm going to use the pie crust dough today. And I'm going to season the eggs and sausage filling really simply, but it's going to be super delicious. These are really fun. It's kind of a special recipe. I was thinking about Christmas coming up, and it might be really nice to do something special this Christmas season. So for the filling, I'm going to use a pint-sized jar, and into the jar, I'm going to use 3/4 cup of our scrambled egg mix. And that's going to give you a good amount of filling. I'm going to use the same amount of our sausage crumbles, and I do put those through the blender. So I blitz them in the blender because you need the pieces to be smaller than what it comes in the can. You want the sausage to be able to refresh in time so that you're not just sitting around for half an hour waiting for your sausage to refresh. And I also add cheese to that and just some simple seasonings. I've got salt and pepper and some chives. You could use the Thrive Life green onions if you like, and just a little bit of instant milk powder. That's all that's going to go into the filling jar. Now, if you would like, you can add other things. I'm thinking spinach, mushrooms, red bell peppers. It's totally up to you. Let me show you how I make my pie crust mix. We have several new subscribers and they might not have seen it yet. I am using all-purpose flour. It's 2 cups. I'm going to put this in the food processor just because it's easier for me to do it. You could do this whole process in a large bowl with a fork or a pastry blender, but I've got it here in the food processor. To that flour, I add some butter because of the taste of the butter powder, and then some scrambled egg mix will help give the pie dough some stability. And then I pulse together the dry ingredients, and then I add some lard. So you need to add some fat here, okay? And I use lard. My mama used lard, but you could also use tallow. You could use shortening, I'm sure. You want to pulse that in the blender several times until the fat is really well distributed in the dry ingredients, and then you can store that in your jar. Now, since it's got the fat in it, you do need to use it within probably 3 or 4 months. I've got a little baggie of a couple teaspoons of our scrambled egg mix that I put in the top of that jar, and that's because I'm going to do an egg wash on these little Hot Pockets before I bake them up. It helps it to brown. When you're ready to make these, you'll want to start with the egg mixture. Put it in a medium-sized bowl or a Pyrex and add 1.5 cups of just hot tap water. The hot water will help the sausage refresh faster than if you just put cold water in there. You can set that to the side and go ahead and make your pie dough. So set that baggie of egg mix to the side, and then into a large bowl, you will empty your pie crust mix, and then you'll add somewhere around 4 tablespoons of ice water. That's all I needed. This day was 4 tablespoons. You could add a little bit more if your dough is a little crumbly, but you want to add enough water to where when you mix it together and you kind of squeeze the dough, it has the texture of a Play-Doh. Okay, that's what you're looking for. You can always add more water if you need to, but 4 tablespoons is what I used this day. I did flour my surface and my hands and the dough, and then I kind of pressed it down to flatten it just a bit, and then I rolled out my dough and got a really big rectangle-ish shape, and then I did gather my scraps and I re-rolled those. But as many Hot Pockets as you want to make twice as many of those rectangles of dough. So I was going to make 5 Hot Pockets, so I needed 10 rectangles of dough. then you can set that to the side. You do need to scramble your eggs first before you fill those Hot Pockets. So you'll get a medium-sized pan, just a couple tablespoons of butter melting over medium heat, and then you'll pour in that egg and sausage mixture into your pan, and then you just scramble those eggs. Now, you can make your scrambled eggs however you want to make them. I like to do it to a soft scramble, mainly because you're going to stuff this filling into a pie dough and then it's going to bake in the oven, and you just don't want it to get overdone. So I put that on medium heat and I pull it off the heat, put it back on, pull it off. I just don't want those eggs to get too done too fast. So this is how far I took them. They were almost done, but not quite. And then you can start to stuff your Hot Pockets. So I had 10 rectangles of dough, and I did not use a pattern or anything. I just eyeballed it. And so I put the ones that were a little bit smaller on the bottom, and then I put the egg and sausage mixture on that pastry. And then I put the ones that were a little bigger on the top, and that's because they have to accommodate the filling. So if you have some rectangles that are bigger than others, put the bigger ones on the top. And then you'll just want to seal the edges somehow. You can roll them. I use the tines of a fork to seal the edges. You can do it however you want to do it. But mine looks a little rough here, but that's okay because this is homemade and it's supposed to look homemade. So that's how they ended up. They were a little bit rough, but I think they're rustic and cute. And then you'll want to go ahead and put that egg wash on there and cut you some vent slits in the tops of your Hot Pockets. And then you'll put that in the oven, and you need to bake that at 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. And this is what mine looked like when I brought them out of the oven. Aren't they cute? And since I was gonna film and take some pictures, I went ahead and transferred them to a wire rack so the bottoms would stay nice and crunchy. But you can just serve them right away if you're ready to eat. These are so pretty. Now, this recipe does take a little bit longer than most of my recipes do. I have a variety of recipes on my channel. Some of them are as simple as you dump things into a pan, add water and simmer for 20 minutes and then dinner's done. This is not one of those recipes. This is more like if you have some extra time, you need at least an hour to make these, and you want to do something maybe a little different, a little special, but really fun. This is a good recipe for that kind of time. I think they turned out great. The crust is really tender, so you will have to be a little bit gentle with it as you eat it, just because it will tend to flake apart on you. So it might be just a little bit messy, but still so tasty. And the filling in there is just so nice. The eggs, cheese, sausage, and like I said, use your imagination. You could put whatever you want inside of these. This is very much like a quiche with a top crust on it. And then, of course, you can hold them with your hands. You can pick them up with your hands. They're somewhat portable, and you can eat them like that. I guess that's the appeal of a Hot Pocket, is that they're portable and you can eat them with your hands. But yeah, see the interior there? It's just a lovely filling. And as cute as they are and as fun as that is, this is not actually my favorite way to eat these. My favorite way to eat these Hot Pockets is smothered in my cream gravy. So yeah, I think I just love gravy. I think that gravy on these just puts them over the top. And I realize you do have to use a fork at this point. I mean, you can no longer just pick these up and eat them with your hand. And this is probably not for everybody, but y'all, I love them with the gravy. I'll include that recipe below. I'll include all the recipes below in the description box, as well as my shopping link. I'll also put my my website where you can pick up a copy of my cookbook. My gravy recipe and my pie crust recipe, they are in my cookbook. That cookbook has over 90 recipes for meals in jars. They're from my YouTube channel. So if you're the kind of person that has freeze-dried food on your shelf, that's a great cookbook to have in your possession. You can download it to multiple devices. You can print off any of the recipes that you like. But anyway, y'all, thanks so much for watching. I had such a fun time doing this recipe this week. I hope you give it a try and let me know what you think. Please leave me a comment below. And if you enjoy my videos, hit the like button. All right. I appreciate you so much. God bless you. Until next time, y'all, take care and keep thriving.